stop myself from thinking that's the thing.
Great. Well, I can teach you to work on that. Fine. So you have a soundtrack in your head all day. And the second you go to sleep, the second you wake up in the morning, the second you go to sleep, there's a voice in your head. Soundtrack. What percentage of that soundtrack is uplifting and useful and loving and kind and calm and positive? So I imagine for most of you more than most people, but for most people not a lot, really like 10% in general, if that. The general person walking down the street, most of their thoughts aren't helping them, not making them feel better, not making them grow, not helping them change situations. There's a lot of anxiety and over analysing and worrying what other people are thinking about me, just stuff that's not really helping them. What das is conscious awareness. What is consciously in your mind? So for example, do you know that most tables are made of wood? You know that? If I were to give you an exam and one of the questions was, what are most tables made of? Would you write wood? Probably, well, there's lots of those plastic tables. But you'd write wood. How often do you think to yourself, you're walking down the street and you're like, wow, most tables are made of wood? Not often. Do you know that New Delhi is the capital of India? Well, you do now. Let's use a different example. Do you know that Washington is the capital of America? DC? Do you know that? You know that? You know? How many times today did you think, wow, Washington's the capital of America? Not once. This is the difference between Chokhmah and Das. Chokhmah is, I have the information, I know it, and I could answer the question on a multiple choice test. What is the capital of America? Bangkok, London, Paris, or Washington? You'd get it right. Das is that I'm actually thinking about it. It's in my consciousness right now. You see the difference? So you all know that tables are made of wood and Washington's the capital of America. That's called I have Chokhmah, I have the knowledge. Das is when you're thinking about it. Now, I don't think you should think about those things a lot. How about this? Do you know that there is a conscious, infinite creator of the universe who is keeping your heart beating right now and desperately wants an intimate, authentic, personal relationship with you? Good. You're here. You? We'll get there. You there? You there? You with me on this one? You got this? Jed? Do you know there's an infinite conscious creator of the universe who loves you unconditionally? He's keeping your heart beating right now and really wants a relationship with you as if you were his only son.
I wish I did.
You don't know that?
I know that,
You know that. You know
I
that.
feel
Good. You know that. Ah, good. But you know that. You know that is just a fact, like Washington's the capital of America. How often did you think about that today? How often did you stop and be like, wow, it's unbelievable that there's actually an infinite conscious creator of the universe keeping my heart beating right now. I want a relationship. So hopefully more than you thought about Washington and tables. So what we're really speaking about is probably the most important thing in your life, which is, what is the content of your mind? What's going on in there? So we just said it doesn't stop all day. What percentage of your mind is spiritually uplifting? Now hopefully at least when you pray, that should be, what are you filling your mind with? So most people, they're not choosing what the content of their mind is. They're not choosing that. It's just coming from their past and their trauma and their stuff. But you're not consciously choosing what to fill your mind with. It's just filled. I actually gave a class the other day to a group, and I said to them, who is in control of your thoughts? And one of the guys was like, me! I said, so why do you keep thinking about your ex-girlfriend sleeping with your best friend? If you were really in control of your thoughts, you wouldn't keep thinking about that. That's destroying your life. And it's like, yeah, I guess I'm not. You're not in control of your thoughts. If you were, you wouldn't think most of the things you're thinking. Do you worry about your exam results, or you're worried about... If you were in control of your thoughts, you wouldn't do that. Those things don't help. So you're clearly not in control of your thoughts. Yes?
If our Yetzer Hara is normally trying to take the path of most pleasure, wouldn't it like want to give us more positive thoughts? Like in the sense of like, why am I always down on myself?
No. One aspect of the Yetzer Hara is the path of pleasure, forbidden pleasure. But the other part of the Yetzer Hara is depression and laziness and sadness, not for pleasure. It's trying to make you feel sad and bad. It's not always trying to make you feel good. It's either trying to make you feel good, but in a negative, bad way, or it's trying to make you feel bad. Yeah, it has two aspects to it. The Yetzer Hara has two jobs: push you towards things that are not good for you, and block you from achieving things that are good for you. That's his role.
I heard before that the job leads tomorrow, or one of the jobs is to make you like really, really sad and kill yourself.
Make you really sad and kill yourself?
Yeah.
That's one tiny aspect of it, what it might do in a very extreme case. The truth is, that's not true though, because the Yetzer Hara is actually on your side. The Yetzer Hara is working for Hashem to help you become great. So I don't think the Yetzer Hara actually wants you to kill yourself. But it could be so strong. You could feed it so much that you then do something like that. Where does the Yetzer Hara get its strength from?
Inaction.
Gets his strength from you. Gets his strength from you. You buy into it, you gave it strength. You keep feeding your physical desires and your ego desires, you're giving it strength. You're feeding it, basically. You're making it really significant. It's a bully. The Yetzer Hara is a bully. The more you get upset with it or fight it or whatever, the more strength it gets. If you could just look at it and be like, it's not doing that. And it loses its strength. So the truth is, the Yetzer Hara in and of itself is not very strong. It says in Parshas Shoftim, Ki tetzei lemilchama al oivecha ram am rov mimcha. When you go to war against your enemy, a nation greater than you. So the Ohr HaChaim says, when you go to war against your enemy, that's the Yetzer Hara. Am rov mimcha, a nation bigger than you. But he says, mimcha doesn't mean than you. Mimcha is mimcha, from you. You made it big. You bought into it. You made it. You thought, oh my goodness, I'm bad. You started identifying with it. I'm so bad for having jealous thoughts. If you have a jealous thought, and then you carry on and you nurture that jealous thought, you just gave your Yetzer Hara some strength. If you have a jealous thought and you start beating yourself up, why am I still having jealous thoughts? I'm such an idiot. You just gave your Yetzer Hara strength. If you have a jealous thought and you take a deep breath and say, hey Yetzer Hara, thanks for throwing me that jealous thought, but I'm not getting involved. It just basically loses its power. The Midrash actually compares the Yetzer Hara to a highway robber. It's a highway robber and everyone's walking along and he jumps out at them, give me all your money, and they're like, take all my money, don't kill me, and run away. One day he jumps out at someone and he stops and he looks at the Yetzer Hara, the highway robber, and he sees that he's actually a really old, weak man with no weapons. And he looks at him and says, I'm not giving you my money. And the robber's like, okay, don't tell anyone. It's just that everyone, because he was a highway robber, just assumed he's very dangerous, right? But if you actually stopped and looked, it was like, no. That's what the Midrash says this. So everyone freaks you out. Your Yetzer Hara is so big, you can never be your Yetzer Hara. This is not true. Your Yetzer Hara is a little baby compared to your neshama. Your neshama is so full of light and life and purity. Yetzer Hara just cannot stand to be near your neshama. That's why when you start meditating, your mind freaks out even more. When you just put on soft music, start breathing and try and come in the present moment, your mind freaks out more. Why? Because it's scared. The Yetzirah is like, he's going to now take control. So it makes it even worse and brings up anxiety and boredom and stuff and then you give up on your meditation, and that was just the Yetzirah freaking out. If you could just sit through the boredom, sit through the anxiety and be okay with it, and on the other side, that's what Hashem is waiting for. It's like the end of level boss. You go through, and then in spite of end of level boss, and you're like, oh no, know that that's at the end of the level. You're just going to be the boss. There's not much you need to do to be this one. There's a baby. The other reason your Yetzirah is strong is because your body is on the Yetzirah side. Because what the Yetzirah is telling you to do, apart from the depression, the sad things, it does feel nice. It does feel good. I want to do that. I want to press the snooze button. And I want to eat whatever I want to eat and do whatever I want to do. Because it feels good. So your body is also on your Yetzirah side. Also, your mind has been so overtaken by your Yetzirah that is so well trained. Your Yetzirah is so well trained in war. It knows you better than you know yourself. It knows how to get you. It knows that girl when you were 16. It knows that weakness. It knows exactly. It's perfectly trained in war. This is still based on the Orach Chaim in Parshat Shoftim. I'm saying this. And Chovos HaLevavos chapter 5. Maybe we should learn it next time. It gives a whole thing about how the Yetzirah knows you so well, and the Yetzirah is very different from anything else because it never gives up and it never will. If a cat comes and annoys you, you shoo it away, it'll come back again. You shoo it away again, it might come back again. 3 times it's not coming back. Yetzirah never. You shoo it away for the rest of your life. It's just going to be like a fly. It's just a fly, just keep coming. But you know what fly is attracted to. So if you stop smelling like that, it'll stop coming to you. Yeah.
Based on what you said before, would we like that the Yetzirah keeps coming back? So you said
We should, if you're a growth-orientated person.
right. So you don't want to get rid of it completely.
We do, but you won't, so it's fine. And it's a very different Yetzirah. They say the bigger the tzaddik, the bigger the Yetzirah, but that's not true. The bigger the tzaddik, the more refined the Yetzirah. So like the Rosh Yeshiva isn't struggling with pornography. It's not like he's like free now. Struggles with kavod maybe a little bit when he walks into a room and everyone stands up, and there might be a tiny bit of arrogant pride in his heart. Maybe, I don't know if he believes, but that. So his Yetzirah would be our biggest mitzvah. The way he says a bracha, his worst bracha would be my best bracha. So you'd never compare yourself to other people. He's got a more refined Yetzirah. I don't have a Yetzirah. I overcame it. I'm perfect. But you guys probably won't get there, so you have to know these things.
Didn't King David do something like that?
It's going to be a lifelong journey, but the truth is, I'll tell you the truth, it becomes much easier. I'm definitely not a tzaddik, but I'm not struggling with anger and jealousy and doubt and fear and maybe a bit of jealousy. Other big speakers, I sometimes feel jealous of them. But I notice it immediately and very quickly, and I kind of smile at it. So I haven't uprooted it, and I haven't uprooted ego. People come to me like, Rabbi Dov Ber, you changed my life, your book. I feel some ego, so I know it's still there. I just don't take it so seriously. I'm just like, okay, I'm dealing with my ego. But I'm not being arrogant and horrible because of it. So 98% of my thoughts are nice and happy and calm and kind and normal. And the ones that aren't, I'm like, alright. So it gets much easier. But it takes meditation. I don't think you can do it if you're not meditating on a regular, consistent basis. Now, I actually don't get to do that so much now, but because I did it for so long, for so many years, I basically just changed how I'm thinking anyway, naturally. Just roll around playing this music all day. Go to the shuk on Friday morning, everyone's killing each other, I'm just walking around with this. Just like, have some fish, please. Listen, this is my drug. These are my drugs. Yanuka music and breathing through my nose. So everyone's overcomplicating everything. I ran a seminar in London, 3-hour seminar this Sunday in London, and I was saying things and everyone was like, isn't that a bit simple? And I was like, yeah, why do you want it to be complicated? It's very simple. I'm not saying it's easy. One thing I said is, if you want to create a great life, work out your goal. What does that look like? Work out the steps you need to take in order to achieve that goal, and then do them. My mission, but that's my mission. True and simple. Now it's not easy to do. Although working out your goal and working out the steps is actually quite easy. Taking them isn't, because you're lazy and you've got all your issues. It's not that complicated. People sit down and they're like, Rabbi, I signed up for a 15-minute one-on-one and I got like an hour of stuff to talk to you about, and 15 minutes not enough. After about 5 minutes they're like, all right, I'm done then, because they're like, what do I do about this? And I'm like, that. And they're like, okay, thanks. And it's very simple. It really is though. So real spiritual growth isn't about becoming more complex. It's about the opposite, becoming more simple. Just letting go of all the stuff that isn't actually working or useful or helpful. Now obviously if you've got real trauma, then you have to have trauma therapy and breath work and release that in you. But even someone who does that, you then have to do the mindfulness work. And this is what das is. What am I filling my mind with? So when you walk to the Makolet, let's say it takes you 2 minutes from the dawn to go and buy your drink in the Makolet. What are you thinking about? So for most people, they don't choose what they're thinking about in general. They just think whatever they're thinking. What do you mean, like choose what I'm thinking about? When you go on a car journey and you get in the car, do you choose what album you want to listen to, what music you want to listen to? So why don't you do that when you walk to the Makolet? Choose what you want to think about. I'm not going to think about everything I'm grateful for 2 minutes on my way to the Makolet. Now if you don't choose what you think about, then your consciousness just sends all stuff into your mind. And you're going to be thinking about my problems and my issues and what bit, and then get to the Makolet and get back from the Makolet, and you wouldn't have got any clarity or happiness or peace or positivity. Or you could think, I'm actually going to spend this 2 minutes to consciously think about my issue, but in terms of finding a solution to it. Not just to whine about it, but what solution can I find to my problem? That's also okay. On my bike on the way to yeshiva, I choose what I want to think about. It's often what I'm going to teach in my first class. But when I know what I'm going to teach in my first class, I'll just think about, I'm going to now spend my time riding to school, and everyone I see on the way sending them blessing. It's a really nice thing to do, because everyone's really uptight. And they're on their phones and they're running around, and I'm on my electric bike, I'm just like, music, I'm just like, Hashem, I don't know this guy, but whatever he's going through, just help. He's got shalom bias issues, just help. So my way home from work, I say, right, I'm going to spend, it takes about 10 minutes, I'm going to spend 10 minutes going over my day, like cheshbon and nefesh. What did I do today? Is there anyone I need to apologize? Is there something I could have done better today? What do I want to do when I get, so that's useful, rather than if I just got on my bike and started riding home, then my mind would be all over the place doing whatever it is. I'll get home and what did I achieve? There's like being in your car and just letting the radio blast music at you that you don't really like. That would ruin your journey. Why didn't you choose the music? So das is, I'm choosing consciously to fill my mind with, for this case, we're talking about Hashem. I believe that there is a conscious, infinite creator of the universe, and therefore for 10 minutes I'm going to just say, Hashem, I know you're here. And you can all have one of these stickers for free, and that's a QR code to my website. Hashem, I know you're here. Although I know you're here should have been in white as well, because you can't really see. But it means you have to really look for Hashem. Well, you don't. Hashem you can see. You got to look for the Ainaya. Das. So, Judaism is an amazing Das tool. Actually, we have many amazing Das tools. The whole of Judaism is just a mindfulness tool. That's what Judaism is. Why do we have mezuzahs? What's a mezuzah for? Correct. How often do you be reminded of Hashem when you walk past the mezuzah? Most people never. Maybe they'll like stick their hand out. But do you actually, when you walk through a doorway, and you're like, wow, there's an infinite conscious creator of the universe who loves me unconditionally. That would change your life. That would be nice. So I'm going to tell you what the Rambam says. Hilchos Tefillin v'mezuzah in Hilchos chapter, I don't know how you're going to remember this, but try. Chapter 6, Halacha 13. 6:13. Chayav Adam lezaher b'mezuzah. You are obligated to be very careful in your consciousness of the mezuzah. Mipnei shehi chayiva hakol tamid, because it's an obligation always. V'chol et sheyichanes v'yetzeh, and every time you walk in and out of a room, yifga begichud shma shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You should smash into, you should encounter the unity of God's name. Whoa. That's what you should do to you. You're just thinking about all your stuff, you're just in some daydream. Mezuzah should be, I'm going to make mezuzahs where they have, those hands on the spring. So you walk past it and it trips a little laser and bang, smack in the face. Whoa, Hashem. Or lavender oil, spritz lavender oil. There's a God. The Ahava setting and the Yira setting. Watch this. V'yizkor ahavato. V'yizkor, and to remember ahavato, there's a machlokas, either how much Hashem loves you or how much you love Hashem. So you should walk past and be like, oh wow, Hashem mamish loves me unconditionally, not because I'm doing well in my Gemara shiur, not because I got up early this morning, just love me, Hashem loves me. V'ye'or mishenato, and wake up from your daydreaming sleep-like existence where you're just going around like a zombie. Wake up. V'shkiato behevle azman, and you're caught up in all the futility of this time, all the stuff you're doing. V'yeda, das, yeda, das. She'ein sham davar ha'aymed le'aylam u'lemei ha'olamim ela yediyas tzur ha'olam. And understand that there's nothing eternal, nothing real, nothing true, nothing authentic apart from das of Hashem, being aware of Hashem. Do you know what a better husband you'll be if you can just, your wife's upset, something's going on, and you don't get sucked into that, and you're just like, Hashem, I'm just going to be there for you, I'm not going to get sucked in. And your kid's throwing a tantrum, and you're just like, come here, I'll give you a hug. You want to kill your kid, or you give him a hug instead? Because of the mezuzah, is it? Mezuzah. Miyadu chayze ledato, and immediately you return to your das. Olech b'darkei hayasharim, and then you walk in the straight path. You walk in the straight path. I'm a mensch. Basically, the mezuzah is meant to make you turn you into mensch. It's meant to turn you into mensch. That's it. You walk in. So you're basically going through a portal. Every time you walk through a doorway, I used to say, every time I walk past the mezuzah. Not so loud that people could hear me. I'd be like, oh, I'm in a new state of mind now. Especially when I walk into the base midrash. So das, you're here to have das. Judaism is, everything in Judaism is a das tool. Why do we say brachas? Das. Why do you wear tzitzit? Das. Why do you put your right shoe on first and then your left shoe? Das. Everything's just das. It's the whole. The Shulchan Aruch is the book of Jewish mindfulness. Is there a Chumash here?
Yeah.
Second Rashi on this week's Parsha. Second Rashi on this week's Parsha. It says here, "Ve'elei hamishpatim asher tasim lifneihem," and these are the laws that you should place before them. Place before them. This is what the second Rashi. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMoshe. Hashem says to Moshe, "Lo ta'aleh al datcha, la'ima eshane lehem aperek v'alacha beis u'gimel pa'amim ad shetieh sedora bepihem k'mishnata ve'eini matriach atzmi la'avinam tamei hadavar perisho." Hashem says to Moshe, don't just go and teach them 2 or 3 times the laws so that they know all the laws, but say to yourself, I'm not going to bother teaching them why, teaching in the panemias, teaching what's the point of doing it. I'm just going to say, look, you have to do this. Where sits it? Why? Because God says so. Do this. Why? God says. I'm not. Hashem says, don't do that. L'chach nema asher tasim lefneihem. That's why He said, put it before them, k'shulchan ha'aruch, like a set table. Umuchan le'echol lifnei ha'adam. It's ready to be eaten. So this is how you should see the Shulchan Aruch and Jewish law, as a buffet. An amazing buffet. And you say, oh, amazing. Now I'm going to learn the laws of washing my hands. You're at a buffet, a smorgasbord at a wedding. And, oh, look at those little teriyaki salmon cubes. And the basmati rice and this. And that's how you should see halachas, just like das. Tamei ha-mitzvahs, taste. Tamei ha-mitzvahs, the reason for the mitzvahs is literally the word to taste. To experience Hashem. So the purpose of a mezuzah is for you to have das, and through das you can experience Hashem. And brachas, das, you can experience Hashem. Tzitzit, das. Every time you remember tzitzit, should be playing with this tzitzit a lot. Every second is 4 mitzvahs, tzitzit. So you're like buzzing. And Hashem is like, you're sitting at the bus stop waiting for the bus. Don't be bored. Don't say, what can mitzvah I can do now? Just like freak out because you're sitting like every time you do a mitzvah, you're plugging yourself into the divine light of infinite consciousness. You put on your tefillin, when you pull it tight, you've done the mitzvah, you're now plugged in. Sits it for every second.
Oh my God. It's dark.
Wow. Sits it and did it.
Sorry. I should have realized. You didn't know that, bro. Oh my God.
Ele mishpatim. Das.
Maybe I heard this nice idea about Aryeh